From the disassembly of the recent projector, some of these components came out. Putting them together, we've got what appears to be a wall, boundary wall in some dystopian future, with a drawbridge between. First things first, get these cut so they fit on the pre-prepared piece of plywood that I've got there sitting on the left hand side. This piece is going to be my drawbridge. It's got this nice opening in it where I'm going to put that gearing mechanism through. All components with the drawbridge between. So here we're just tidying them up, cutting off all the pieces we don't want, and then of course sanding them a bit just to get them neat. This piece of cardboard just helps me establish where on the base I would like to place this wall. I thought initially the middle, but it's better, I think, to get it as sort of a 1/3, 2/3 approach. Applying some texture to the drawbridge, normally just cutting in grooves so they look like metal plates. Right, so I tried some blue stain onto the plywood, trying to make it look a bit like a swamp. And then there we glue down the base, and there's our components spray painted. This is going to be our main wall. Just having a look at that, but it looks good. Now moving on to the drawbridge itself, it needs some structure. So I found this piece from a printer, which I'm just tidying up, and that's going to go at the bottom of it. So gluing down the two wall components. Very interesting looking from the front. It's even got those two portholes there at the top. Then gluing down the gear mechanism, and the drawbridge goes over that. This part is also from the printer. And I'm going to use that exactly like the walls. I'm going to make the back of the walls to close them in. So I'm just cutting this up and then finishing it off a bit. Now the bottom of an old printer, as you can see, just marking that out, that's going to be forming the base on the inside of the wall. Yeah, sits nicely on the corner. Gluing in the back of the walls. There we can see the back base glued down and how the drawbridge fits onto that. Yeah, I'm just adding some more components to the drawbridge before gluing it down, and then we're moving on to the building inside the walls. This is also a piece of an old white printer, and I'm just tidying up the edges once I cut through and making sure it fits there nicely. As for the building itself, I decided that it needs some more openings, so I cut those in. Make it seem a bit more like it's floating, I suppose. And then I found this little black piece, which is going to form part of my drawbridge later. But in the meantime, I have spray painted this building, sort of an ivory color, and then glue that down. This shows progress so far. I'm quite happy with how this is taking shape and just the massing that we're getting from the different parts. Right, time to start adding some details. Back of the wall, adding these little protruding bits. There's the part I discussed earlier with the, let's kind of go with our drawbridge. You can also see me working on a turbine inside the actual building and fixing that down with some rods. Maybe it's some sort of water desalination plant, something like that. The drawbridge itself, adding wires to that component there. And that of course looks like something that in combination with the gear, that's something that can be raised or lowered. Here I start thinking of the other side of the drawbridge, which obviously has to land somewhere. And I get this little piece which I've just cut off from the other printer base that we had earlier. Cut that to make it fit. And I'm going to add some landscape to this. There it is, spray painted. Glue that in. And so now I'm starting to think of filling this in with some land. So I get my filler out, build a bit of a wall to work against, and just start piling it in there. Once ready, I start peeling that off. Now we're looking at a roof for the building inside the walls. There's a nice flat piece here, it's got some ridges on it. Cut that to size. And while that's drying from being spray painted, I decide that I'm going to add a roof on top of the walls themselves. This is also from an old printer. Comes the roof, glue that on, and add some additional detail to the inside of the wall. There's the little canopy over the walls going on, and then add some more landscape around the place just to make the interface with the polyfiller better. So I connect all the pieces to the base. Once the filler's dried, we start adding some wood glue over that, and then add some beach sand, which is the finest sand I could find. This will later be used to obviously create texture. Once that's dry and we've removed the excess, we get some brown paint out and we hit it up. Dry brushing with a lighter color, and then moving on to the buildings themselves. Pull out a wash, start adding that all over. Slowly starting to take shape. Some 3D printed components. First for me, chuck them down there. See where I can use them. On top of this roof, I've got these little strips. Glue them down. Wonderful posts which I've designed. 4 of them, glue them in. Some nice balustrades over the bridge. There's wonderful gas vents sitting on the wall there. Then we just add some wash to all these components. Make sure they fit in. Paint the edges of the model black because we're cutting, right? So we want that all to look right. This was just a post added in after the fact. That building was drooping a bit. Just wanted to fix that up. After the wash is dried, we go over with another layer of dry brushing. Then we add some greenery, just a few tufts I've got lying around. I printed this 3D stencil when I decided to call the building BL4. Just sticking a piece of paper around that, and that is going to get sprayed on top of the roof. And then last but not least, of course, we add some people, which instantly gives you a sense of scale. These are 1 in 100. And these are some of the finished photos. Enjoy.